At a time when the World Health Organization should be focused on dealing with the coronavirus pandemic, it's facing criticism from its biggest donor. U.S. President Donald Trump accused the WHO of not being aggressive enough in confronting the virus and threatened to suspend funding. In response, WHO Director General Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus called for unity and warned against politicizing the crisis.
No need to use COVID to score political points. No need. You have many other ways to prove yourselves.
So when he says politicizing, he's politicizing. That shouldn't be. But look, we spend $450 billion, $452 billion, almost $500 billion last year, hundreds of billions in previous years. And they got to do better than that.
Trump accused the WHO of being slow to react to the pandemic, despite it declaring COVID-19 as a public health emergency of international concern weeks before the U.S. declared a national emergency. Trump also accused it of being China-centric. The agency has praised China's response to the pandemic, and critics say it may have been too trusting of Beijing, who initially tried to conceal the outbreak in Wuhan.
So I think that there is both a legitimate concern here about the WHO perhaps pandering to China. There is some evidence of that, although it's to be determined. We don't really know. And then there's also a concern that perhaps the Trump administration is using this as a scapegoat to distract from its own rather late and ineffectual response.
On the same day Trump threatened to suspend WHO funding, the U.S. announced an additional $225 million to boost COVID-19 response efforts worldwide. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo.
That's on top of the roughly $274 million in funding we've already deployed to 64 countries across the globe.
Pompeo said the aid is part of U.S. continued global leadership in the pandemic, which some analysts view as lacking.
If we want to remain a global power, one of the things that the world expects us as a global power is to help solve this problem. We need to be seen as solving the global COVID problem, because if we aren't, China's going to happily step in and try and take the credit for.
Publicly, Trump has welcomed China's global role in the pandemic. Earlier this month, he said that he views it as a positive if Beijing is helping other countries.